So you're thinking about buying Bitcoin, but you're worried you might make a big mistake. Well, you're not alone. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Alan, and in today's video I will walk you through the most common mistakes beginners make when getting into Bitcoin. I'll also talk about how to avoid them. Well, the first and the most often question I get is it too late? Short answer, no, it's not too late. And I'll give you some numbers. Well, it was a bit tricky to find out, but apparently there's about 106 million people who have bought and own Bitcoin, which is about 1.3% of the total population of the earth. So think about that in perspective. I sincerely think that we are in early stages of Bitcoin adoption. It's like the internet in the late 90s. It's the comparison that goes through my mind whenever I think about where we are. There's 21 million of them max. The demand is growing, and I think Bitcoin future is still wide open. So don't let the I'm too late fear stop you. And I'll give you a few examples, because these are things that I remember. So I remember when Bitcoin was $3,500, people were asking the same question. And then he went to 10K and they were asking the same question. And then he went to 30K. Then he went to 65K. Now, as I am recording this video, Bitcoin is basically in price discovery, all-time highs, and people are still asking the same question. No, you're not too late. Unless you're not gonna buy it, then yes, it's too late. Another point in regards to being too late. Just think about the stock market. It's just been chugging along, going up and up and up and up for, well, what, early 1800s. If you think about Dow Jones Industrial Average, yes, it has corrections, but that's how it works. In the long run, it will go up. Mistake number 2. Don't overthink it, okay? A lot of people get stuck behind the fact that they need to fully understand Bitcoin before they buy. But here's the truth. You don't need to be a tech expert. You don't need to understand what layer 1 is. You don't need to understand what layer 2 is. It's a very deep rabbit hole to go into, and it will take time. So my advice would be start small, okay? Start small and learn as you go. Paralysis by analysis is what keeps some people actually pulling the trigger. And some people might go, hey, I would start buying some Bitcoin after I make some research and I'll see how it goes, and maybe 2-3 months I'll buy, or in 6 months. I need to understand it. And by the time they do that, they come back and the price is like maybe 50% higher or 100% higher, and you go back to mistake number 1. Is it too late? Okay, so don't do that. Mistake number 3. Bitcoin is volatile. Think long term. So Bitcoin goes up, it crashes. Then it goes up again more than it was before. Then it crashes again. If you zoom out and if you have a look at the long-term trend, you will see that Bitcoin basically goes up over the long time, okay? Bitcoin has been one of the best performing assets in the last 10 to 12 years, but only for those people who have shown patience. So if you buy Bitcoin, think about it as a long-term investment. Think about it in years, not in weeks. Because if you've been in this game for a couple of years like I have, you've seen this happening more than once. You know, Bitcoin going up to almost $20,000 and then a few months later collapsing to $3,500, just for it to go back again to 65, collapse 50%, go back to up to 69K, and then collapse back to 15K, and as the making of this video, basically Bitcoin is in price discovery. So like I say, you need to have patience. You need to pay attention at the long-term trend and think about it in years. Mistake number 4, buy Bitcoin only. Don't get distracted by altcoins. Most of these are hype driven, centralized, and some of them are outright scams. You know, Bitcoin is the thing you want. Bitcoin is the gold standard, and it's the only one that has stood the test of time. And let's be honest, if it weren't for Bitcoin, probably all of the other ones would just go to zero. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people, especially on YouTube, who are shilling these scams. I'm not sure how else to call them. It's unfortunate, but it's something that comes with the territory. But you know, just focus on Bitcoin. The rest is just noise. Bitcoin is the real foundation, is the real one you need to take interest in. And I'll tell you a bit of a background in the way I started, because at the beginning I bought Bitcoin, but I also bought Litecoin. So Bitcoin was the gold standard and still is the gold standard, and a lot of people, the narrative was quite a few years ago that the Bitcoin is the gold standard and Litecoin was the silver of crypto. Well, it's been quite a few years since I bought Litecoin, and it hasn't done much. If I would have invested that money into Bitcoin instead of Litecoin, I would have been a lot better off, and my portfolio would have gone even higher than where it is right now. So yeah, Bitcoin only, okay? Number 5, use cold storage. Do not keep your BTC on an exchange. So obviously, if you want to buy Bitcoin and use an exchange, which is fine, but do not keep it there. There are all sorts of wallets that you can buy, like Ledger, like Trezor, or some of them some of them are free, and you can just install them on your phone, on a memory stick, and you can keep the most important thing is to have your own virtual wallet, not your keys, not your coins. That's how the saying goes, and it's a very true saying. You don't want to be one of those people who, you know, these exchanges sometimes they collapse. The CEO, runs away with the money. Stuff like that happened, and you don't want to be one of those person who was affected by something like this. And the easiest way is not to get scammed and not to get your Bitcoin stolen, is to keep it in your own wallet. Very, very important. Also, exchanges can be hacked. Remember FTX? You don't want to go through something like that. So best way is self-custody. One of the main reasons I like Bitcoin is because you can be your own bank. So do that, be your own bank. Number 6, another very important one. Do not trade and do not use leverage. So very, very important one as well. If you buy some, please do not trade. Definitely do not leverage trade. I mean, Bitcoin has enough volatility as it is. You do not need leverage, and statistically speaking, you'll end up blowing your account and losing all your Bitcoin. If you're really curious, just go on Reddit and you'll find plenty of horror stories, and trust me, you do not want to be part of that statistic. You don't need it. And also be careful of a lot of YouTubers showing you like very successful trades and making a lot of money, and which is unfortunately very, very often it happens. And some of these YouTubers have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, but I'll tell you what, most of them are losing money. And I know this comes from another guy on YouTube. Maybe I'll make a video about it. Maybe this is probably a good idea for a video, but most YouTubers, they're just losing money and they're just giving out bad advice. You know, leverage can liquidate your entire position. You can lose all your money just like that. So don't do it. Just DCA, stack those sats, and that's it. Simple. Go outside, go for a walk, enjoy a nice weather like this. If you think I've missed anything important, just comment down below with another mistake beginners make when buying bitcoins, when getting into Bitcoin. I think I covered the most important bits, to be honest. I hope you liked it. If you did, subscribe, like, comment down below for the algorithm and all that good stuff. That's very loud. And I will see you in the next video, okay? Take care. Bye bye.